Welcome back, Seaweed Brain listeners, true dedicated fans of the Riordanverse. If you are here for the sequel book of the spin-off series of the Nico D'Angelo adventures, it's chapters 5 through 8 of The Court of the Dead. We have a brand new guest once again. Stick around.
Finish training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more. The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for this day.
All right, welcome everybody. My name is Erica, joined as always by my co-host Carter. Hello, Carter.
Hi
How
everyone.
are we doing?
Wow, it is the morning. Ooh. It's okay, we'll get there. Hi.
I believe you just said you're deciding to read the book along in real time, right?
This is correct. In any given episode, I think I'm committing now, I will have read up until the end of the set of chapters that we're talking about, and no further.
This is the first time this has literally ever happened on this podcast. I do this a lot. I kind of did this with the Red Pyramid, even though I had read it as a kid. I did not remember any of it. But this is the first time Carter's ever done this. So if you hear Carter say something that's like foreshadowing or a prediction, that's just because Carter's really smart.
It's the realness. It's genuine. Yeah.
Enjoy that journey along with me being like, ooh, Carter flagged the thing that's coming back. We're like all those other podcasts now where they have one person who's read the book and one person who hasn't succumbing to the framework. Our brand new guest today is new to being on the podcast, but not new to the podcast. We are really dipping into the Patreon well of wonderful joy and intelligence to help us find guests for this book. We have Laura joining us all the way live from Bogota, Colombia. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm really happy to be here.
Laura is literally a professor of literature. Once again, one of our most qualified guests ever. Would you like to tell the people what you specialize in?
I specialized in Caribbean contemporary literature, especially Haiti, Cuba, República Dominicana, Colombia. So French, Spanish, and Haitian Creole.
I think we first interacted when you sent me that incredible thread about like zombie pop culture.
Yeah. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. Wait, please give us a 30-second TED Talk about that while we have you.
Oh,
this was on Trials of Apollo era.
Yeah. So basically, the zombie is mythical like figure of voodoo that comes from Benin, goes to Haiti. And then during the two occupations, for anyone who doesn't know this, Haiti has been occupied twice by the United States. During the first one, the US people kind of like stole a lot of like cultural imaging and used it in Hollywood as propaganda to justify their occupation of Haiti. So that's where our whole like voodoo dolls comes from, and the Walking Dead type of zombie, which has nothing to do with the real zombie. The real zombie is actually not like a horde, but one person that has been poisoned by someone very powerful that knows how it works, and has now lost their agency and is at the mercy of this master. There usually are like fake killed and then revived in a cemetery, so that part is like kind of true. And they can break the curse by eating either meat or salt. So there's like a lot of sayings in Haiti about that. So every single time you see a zombie on a US cultural product, remember it comes from imperialistic propaganda.
Yes, let us recall there is no such thing as non-political media, especially if it's like a fad in Hollywood. That comes from somewhere. We're so happy to have you here with us. Would you like to tell us about your history with Nico?
Yeah, so this is very funny because I read all of the Riordanverse books except for Kane Chronicles because I'm reading along with y'all. So I read them all last year. So I started listening to your podcast last year. I was introduced to Percy Jackson last year, and it was because of Nico D'Angelo. Because
Oh.
I'm a bit older than y'all. I'm 31. So when Percy Jackson came out, I was already into Harry Potter, and I have hyperfocus, I have special interests, and Harry Potter was that for me. So I had no space nor like energy for anything else. And when things started to go down with Harry Potter, I started seeing a lot of memes saying like, the difference between Harry Potter and Percy Jackson is that we have queer representation, that Percy rejects like the order of things, etc., etc. And I started seeing a lot of stuff about the queer characters, so Nico, Piper, and also from Magnus Chase, Alex. So I was like, I want this. And that's how it started. So it was all last year, but of course, Nico is my special child. I like Erica. I feel very protective of him.
Very
I love him.
protective.
Yeah.
This is also the first Seaweed Brain episode since the premiere of SNL season 51. And just because it was brought up, I do want to shout out my favorite joke in the entire episode was when Bowen said that Dobby's pronouns are Cho/Chang. I think that my entire life prepared me for that joke. And I didn't laugh. I merely nodded solemnly. Like, that was so brilliant. I will never stop thinking about it. Did you like The Sun and the Star as we're approaching the Court of the Dead? Yes, fan. I see nodding.
I cried. I cried with the book, and then I cried listening to y'all's episodes again. I am deeply connected to that kind of storytelling. I was outed just like Nico was in high school. So
Oh my God.
I was like, this resonates so much with my story and being queer in Latin America. So I was like, yeah, this is what I needed. This is what my inner child needed to read. So I am a fan, definitely. I was really excited for Court of the Dead.
Yay! All right. On that note, then let's freaking get into it. Carter, where did we last leave off?
This is an excellent question. We last left off having met Asterion and getting basically the premise of the book, which is that we are going to be social messengers, I guess. We are going to bridge the divides between the Romans and the mythics who have arrived here and are looking for a new home.
Absolutely. I wanted to note to the listeners, we've done many different styles of coverage on this podcast for different books. I am going to err on the side of us not recapping every plot detail for this book, just because there is so much to get into thematically that we want to talk about. But if you're somebody who is like only digesting this book through this podcast, or if you really like getting all of that recap, just shoot me a message, write a comment on Spotify or something. I would like the feedback. But for now, we're erring on the side of not doing that. Okay. It's Frank's return, which is why I say that. I think we have so much to talk about today that has nothing to do with the actual plot, or a little, like, some to do with the actual plot, but mostly to do with our own perspectives. It's chapter 5, and we're waking up from a nightmare and heading to the dining hall with Nico D'Angelo.
Yeah, you cannot escape your nature, son of Hades, was a lot. We might think that this is something we are just discussing now in the 21st century. And I put on my notes that I really needed to recommend everyone to read the Kalila Wadibna. It's one of the books I love the most. It's from the 13th century.
Nice.
There might be fables that you recognize in it because it's the Arabic Iberian version, but comes from the Pachatantra. And this question of can you change your nature is central to many of the fables. So can you be friends with, like, if you're a mouse, can you be friends with a cat? Can you be friends with a crow? So I really love it because it was my first introduction to this question of can you escape your nature?
Yeah. If you're the evil queen, can you raise the grandchild of Snow White with a loving heart. Can we ever truly, these are the questions that occupy our mind and our media. Nico hearing this like mysterious voice makes a comment about how like Nico's not sure like who is speaking to him, but he says only mortals are capable of that much malice.
Yeah.
I think that's such a great phrase to get us into this book where we're reframing who we think of as the monster. But I would also add to only mortals, I would add to that list Jesus and climate change, just as we set ourselves, we're foreshadowing, we're setting ourselves up, right? The villains in this book might be mortals, but in the future they will be Jesus and climate change because we can't do monsters anymore. We're not doing mythics anymore. As Nico leaves to go to the dining hall, he asks the Cocoa Puffs to stay behind because there's already so much going on at Camp Jupiter. Did this feel like a regression at all in the perspective of the Puffs to you guys from The Sun and the Star, or did this feel correct?
I think it's a little bit of regression, but it's
That's what I thought
practical.
Too. Yeah. Maybe it's only a regression because it's Camp Jupiter.
Yeah. We're living in a repressive society now, so we have to change it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I love how Defiance is starting to come up as like one of the main Puffs.
Yes.
Defiance is my child. I
Yeah.
want Defiance in my life.
Is there a Puff that's just called Woke? Is there Woke Puff?
We need one.
Is Defiance Woke Puff?
I think so, but we also have a lot of Puffs that are not named. So
Yes, this is true.
we might have Woke eventually.
We could get an Inside Out style spin-off book of the spin-off series that's just about the Puffs. And we could like name all the different, we could like have Woke Puff, we could have Gender Puff.
We're actually having on the Patreon, on the Patreon Discord, we were like trying to have a list and update it as we're meeting the Puffs, because I wanted to do a fan art of the Puffs, but I wanted it to be accurate. Like I wanted their characteristics to be accurate, and
Yes.
everyone was helping out. So
Listen to that. If the Riordanverse wiki is not detailed enough for you, you need the Seaweed Brain Patreon Discord channels. Sorry. I just had a moment. There's a note in the outline about Nico being hungry all the time. And I also, now that I'm almost done with the book, I really also picked up on that. Like there's so much in this book about Will feeding Nico needing food, recognizing that even though he's tired and exhausted and doesn't feel well, he needs to go and eat something. It was like very sprinkled throughout the book. Laura, you want to speak on that?
yeah, he wants food. Not only like he is acknowledging that he needs it, but he's like, I really want to eat. And he gets upset when time to eat is cut short. So I love this development. I'm really happy to see this. So we can have the representation of our moody boy, but with healthy eating habits.
Yeah.
I think this is important for youth. Yeah.
It's not 2011 Tumblr anymore. Absolutely. We are beyond that. We're healing.
Do we all know that TikTok of the trans woman talking about getting canned fruit from the food bank? Maybe this is really niche. I thought
Go ahead and verbally
everywhere.
explain it, Carter. Verbally explain that TikTok.
I don't have TikTok. I famously don't have TikTok.
I don't have. I mean, I'm not. I saw it on Twitter. Basically, the theme of it is her saying that if you are a young queer person trying to be a hot girl, you need to eat food. And that if you don't have like lipids in your body, you won't be able to give what you want to give.
Oh, I love this.
And that like you should have a lust for life that includes consumption. But she said it in a very engaging way. Meandering, but she locked in.
No, it's
Oh, that's
important that we
amazing.
get these narratives in pop culture right now when like Ozempic and the rise of, conservatism and controlling especially women's bodies is coming back, that we need to push back against 2011 Tumblr aesthetics and be excited about canned fruit.
I was revisiting the Norwegian series Scam, and they have that. And this is like quite old and is the Tumblr era. So I was so happy like to go back to that. The second season, they talk a lot about food in that way. Like you need food to in order to do a lot of things. So
I wanted to flag a little bit of this moment. Nico is acknowledging that Hazel has a lot going on right now. And at the bottom of page 52 says, "How are you holding up? This has to be a lot for you, youngest praetor in history. You've already fought off an army, rebuilt the city, and welcomed a group of refugees from Tartarus." Hazel says, I'm not so young, remember? But I'm hanging in there. Honestly, after spending a week with Asterion, his presence already feels normal to me. I just wanted to say, Hazel, you are so young. You know,
Yes.
I really
wake that up.
Wake it up. She is so young. The age gap is still weird. I think that from a I'm going to argue that from a world building perspective, wandering the fields of Asphodel does not equate to years of emotional maturity.
Yeah. Maybe like weariness. Maybe yeah, I could understand why she would be tired, but it's not the same thing as having experiences, because she did it. You know? She didn't get to have many epiphanies down there in the fields. That's what now is for as a 13-year-old.
I wonder how the brain development works when you spend so long in Tartarus. My mom is a child psychologist, so this is always on my mind. Like, is your prefrontal lobe developed or not? And I was like, I don't think it is in this case.
It's a no for me as well. Yeah.
And I acknowledge that trauma can make your brain develop faster, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to during the healing go back and experience some things age appropriately.
Yeah, like dating. This is where we get not Frank's introduction, but Frank's pre-introduction. So we're gonna start talking about Frank and Hazel from Nico's perspective before he actually physically shows up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to lead this. Who wants to start this conversation?
Frank is a Republican. I think that's how we want to enter this.
Where's the woke puff? He needs to spend a night with woke puff.
He needs to spend a night with woke puff and get that infused into him through the skin. Okay, let's be specific. Frank is not he's not actively articulating what he would consider a political ideology, but it is. Because what he's saying here is basically that Hazel is too close to the situation and can't objectively assess the threat and the danger of the mythics joining Roman society. This is ridiculous. I think he is, in fairness to the book, being presented as not an antagonist, obviously, but as an ideological foil. Like, we are setting up his perspective as something that people would think associated with a person that we know to be proven wrong. Mm-hmm. However, that being said, a lot of the things he's saying, I think, are particularly triggering, and that they are coming from the place of a older romantic partner to Hazel, who is the person making all these decisions, and that is whack. That's not just foil material. That is manipulative older boyfriend material. I mean, okay, we obviously fictional, we're missing a lot of components of what's been going on in the relationship in the intervening year since we were with them all the time on the Argo 2, but it doesn't look good. And relationally, and in terms of Frank as a person being someone who we might agree with, vibe with at some point in the future, because we weren't previously, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for him.
At most, it's manipulative. At the least, it's very condescending.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. As someone who had a Frank as a teen, yeah, this is resonating as well. And I just want to say, Black feminism has entered the chat, and if only the people who are not biased, and I'm doing quote.
Heavy air quotes, yes.
Heavy air quotes, are in the table. Who is having the conversation? The oppressor, of course.
Yes. And yeah, there's, of course, I think Will lightly articulates this position that we now know and love from, autofiction and anthropology and the modern wave of humanistic sciences. But the idea that Frank is more objective about this than Hazel because he has been in the dominant class his whole life is wrong. Obviously. Biased. The convention that we have, I think, from a lot of modern fields is basically having people be clear about what their biases are rather than assuming that there exists a person without bias because they know less or because they're from somewhere where they didn't have to think about something or because they were on the other end of an issue from the people that they are describing and characterizing. It's just not
The
And
amount
bias is
of
like
times,
it's a gross word too.
Yeah.
It's like interpersonally.
Mhm.
That's like a
Don't you do much of your work about medical bias, Carter?
it's a gross word in the sense that when you are accusing a perspective of having bias, as opposed to, say, an algorithm that can't. When you say an algorithm is biased, in my context, that is a precise statement that is quantifiable. It is, it isn't, it is to this degree. When you're saying that about a person, like it's such imprecise language, and it is ending this conversation rather than opening it up. Like when you say that a person is biased, what you're saying is that we are discounting all of the future words that you're going to say about this. That's not useful. That's vague. That's not giving Hazel a way back into this to say, like, okay, well, here's some reasoning, here's some things from my experience that you can also latch into to understand, and for us to meet each other somewhere. It's gross. It's not.
Yeah.
The amount of times I have to have these conversations with my students when they're like making a research project proposal for my classes, and they're like, and I'm gonna be neutral and I'm gonna be objective, and I have to reframe all of that because they actually think that being neutral and objective is a thing that you can do as a human when you're studying something that is in the same existence as yours. But it's so prevalent in our culture. It's sad.
There's also then the interesting thing that gets brought up by Nico here about Frank's heritage playing a role in his personality and his perspective on the situation. That Nico says that Frank is usually so easygoing. Can we put a pin in that? That it's so surprising that his father is Mars, and that, quote, it gives him a stubborn, suspicious streak. There's language a lot throughout, I think, this book later about Mars giving Frank like a like violent tendencies as well, and I just don't like that as an excuse personally. Just because your dad's violent doesn't mean you get to be
your dad who you don't like, who didn't raise you. Also, like, key point here, you did not grow up in a household with this person being bad and teaching you bad behaviors. What we're getting here is biological determinism adjacent, but also the gods don't have DNA or whatever in this world. So what does biological determinism mean exactly? Unclear.
I'm gonna say it's Nico. Nico's whole bringing up of the parentage thing here is Nico trying to be really nice. That is my take on it. Is Nico trying to make any excuse for Frank needing the woke puff in this moment? And being like, oh, it's his dad, you know, he's stubborn, he's suspicious, what can you do? Because Nico, I'm going to flip back a couple pages now. Nico is really trying to be a supportive brother. He says, quote, he liked Frank, but he also didn't like the idea of anyone or anything making Hazel's life harder. Now, is that a statement that you say about someone who you really like? Like, would you turn around and be like, oh, my sibling's partner, I like him, but, you know, I don't like when he makes her life harder. That's a bit of
that's the appropriate perspective for every sibling, in my opinion. Like, if you... How would I put this? Like, I think that it's really important that Nico in this is like, you know, Frank, we're friends, whatever, we did some stuff together. If it comes down to it, if we're picking sides, I know my side. I value that. I think that's important. That's what I'd like to see. I think he doesn't commit enough to that bit, frankly, later on when we do this whole like, oh, Frank and I are go to, like, great friend. I would vouch for him as a person. Like, you don't, whoa. Reel it back. You were right the first time. Friend with caveats, and also you know who's number one. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to see.
Although I do like that he's so as someone who knows a bit about toxic relationships and intra like couple violence, I like him not like openly antagonizing Frank, because that would isolate Hazel. So he's being very supportive, and it's like just opening his eyes and ears to make sure he understands the context and the situation, and how can I provide the best support for my sister, with her knowing that I'm on her side.
Yeah.
Speaking of not isolating Hazel, there's a lot of work being done in this section of 4 chapters to align Hazel with the mythics and the way that she can truly relate to them as somebody who is also like out of time, has been to hell and back, is like othered in many ways. Does somebody want to read this quote I see is highlighted in the outline?
She saw her child as nothing more than a punishment. So when Asterion told me his story, I believed him. I felt sorry for him. And as hard as it is to say it, I also related to him. This is a callback from Hazel's mouth to House of Hades, which was her witch arc against Pasiphae, known alternatively as the mother of the Minotaur. Yes, I appreciate this. Is a fun callback. This is of course what Frank is referring to when he says biased. That she has a perspective that means that unlike other people, she can also relate to the mythics as opposed to only taking a Roman perspective, whatever that means.
As we move forward towards afternoon activities, there's some more Nico POV on why Camp Jupiter loves violence and war so much. Great statements like Nico didn't consider war games a fun pastime. Is it really fun to build an entire castle and spend the next day attacking it and burning it? But like whatever, to each their own. Agreed. And now, before we meet Frank, we're going to meet our found family ensemble of mythics. Shall we go down the line and introduce and discuss each of these new friends?
Yeah, first we have Ariel the Impusa. She is my favorite, of course. She's specifically an Impusa who doesn't have charm speak and is mean. Her energy is very modern internet hot girl. If anyone has seen the 360 Charlie XX music video, that's like the vibe, but also the actual phenomenon that they're describing at the beginning, sitting at that dimly lit dinner table with Julia Fox and everybody.
Wait. Quick pause. Who in the Riderverse is seated at that table? Obviously, Ariel is seated at that table. Reina is seated at that table. I'm going to say Drew Tanaka is at the table. Zia is at the table. Zoe is at the table. I'm going to say Artemis is also at the table.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sadie is a future seat at that table.
Yeah. Sadie, who is Charlie XCX as like a 10-year-old in my head. Yeah, she is mean. She is not taking anything from Nico and Will. She's a little bit, well, I don't know. With Will, it's a little... Erica, do you want to comment on this?
Okay, well, let's talk about bias and who can talk about what, huh? Wow. You're a real Impusa, Will... What? Page 57. You're a real Impusa, Will interrupted, his voice full of awe. I'd heard of your beauty, but... Wow. Ariel gave Will a second appraisal. She flashed him a wicked smile. Well, at least you seem to have some taste. Nope. Nico stepped between the two of them. Will, no bisexual chaos allowed today. And you, he spun on Ariel, stop using your charm speak on my boyfriend. She's not, said Will. Come on, you have to admit she's pretty. Whoa. No comment.
The amount of discourse that Robert from the Damn Meme page has shared with us that is going on Reddit, because Robert decided to go on a crusade and just answer to every single hater of this book on Reddit.
Oh, Robert! Are you not busy enough?
We try to tell them, but so they are keeping us updated on what people are saying. And people are saying this bit is biphobic. And all the B+ people on the Patreon, we were like, no, this actually is very real and relatable.
No, there we go. Yep. Maybe it would be biphobic if this wasn't totally accurate to Will as a character. I think Will's a little flirt.
Exactly.
I think Will's a little flirt. I think that who wouldn't want to flirt with an Impusa? Period. I also like the idea that only charm speak would be like enabling him. You know, that's mythic phobic. You know what? Spin it back on them. let's all maybe we need to touch woke puff a little less, actually. Maybe we all need to take a step back from woke puff.
Yeah. I love this bisexual chaos.
I do. I love it. Also,
I subscribe to this.
Let's have representation for Nico being freaked out all the time in his relationship with his bisexual boyfriend.
If you're 17 and you're not a little bit phobic of something, that's a surprise. But for most people, there's some growing to do on your journey. I don't think the book is biphobic. Like, if you're arguing that Nico has some things to work out in conversations with a licensed professional, sure, maybe. He's a teenager. That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Nico and Dionysus.
He's very cleverly managing this with the joke of no bisexual chaos here, and that's it. We're not like resenting and not talking about it, right?
We're playing it off through comedy. And Nico and Mr. D haven't gotten to like biphobia in their therapy sessions yet. So that's another book.
Level 1 for that.
Wait, you know how Mark said that there's a thread in this book that could be pulled on for the third book? Maybe it's biphobia. Actually, I'm keeping a certain color tab. My blue tabs are specifically for things that I think could be turned into future books. So I'm going to add a blue tab to this page just in case.
Yeah.
It's also the perfect setup to announcing Ariel's weakness, which is assuredly going to come back, which is that she can't charm speak.
Yeah. Weakness or strength, depending on how you. Something that sets her apart from the other Impuse, maybe. Anyway, okay. Our next mythic is John, the Blemmy. We also might want to flag here that all of these mythics are like of creeds, of species. I don't know how we want to parse that. Like we've met others of their kind at different points in the past. And Impuse obviously were big in the Battle of the Labyrinth. We remember Kelly, who is name checked here. Blemmy were big in the Dark Prophecy. That was our book in Indianapolis with the lesbians.
Oh my god, I almost forgot about them. At the train station.
At the train station with the Griffins and others. Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yes. So Johann, what does he have going on? The main thing he has going on, he's like very classical gay coded in the sense that he's really into tea. He probably spins a lot of Tchaikovsky records.
To which I say he's only gay coded in a Mr. Tumnus kind of way. In a way that like maybe that fawn is wearing a scarf because he's gay, or maybe he's wearing a scarf because he's really just a cloistered scholar. Like he's an eccentric intellectual, with interests in archival documents.
Yes, which he does have. He's also interested in archiving things. He also, we're in Nico's POV, remember here. He is, I don't know, we're meant to think that he's attractive. Nico doesn't say it, but clearly he's...
Gay panic.
Something's going on here. We're getting a lot of descriptions of the contours of his physique in his
this feels like
face.
classic Riordan description of a character where because we're in someone's perspective, we cannot help but think that perspective finds that character to be attractive based on the way that the character is being introduced to us with its chiseled six-pack abs.
It's giving panic. And it's also giving Sobek because he's ripped.
Right.
Shout out to Sobek. Also, this is also a part in the book where I had a blue tab because Nico says that he'd only seen a Blemmy once before at a Cheese Whiz factory he'd accidentally shadow traveled to with Will. I'm not wrong in thinking this is something we have not heard about before, right?
No. Correct.
So
has
there's
not been referenced before. You think this is set up for the shadow travel, Lost in the Shadowverse?
I think the Lost in the Shadowverse book is like a general idea of all of the ways in which we could use shadow travel to be like a dimension or, space and time hopping, adventurous kind of story.
Is shadow travel through the duat? Many people are saying.
Yes, exactly. We need that book, and we need to have Manny Jacinto and Deb Patel in it as well. Brief interjection into our character introductions. Barbie reference to the Mythic Dojo Casa house where all the mythics are staying. I had to remind myself that this book was written in 2023.
Yeah, I was not into that one reference. I don't think the poor mythics deserve to be compared to the Kents. I just don't see it. Yeah.
I think it's fair. I don't think it's a strange, because it's not a comparison that really stands up to scrutiny. It literally is just they thought the names would sound similar or something. Yeah. Anyway, we meet Quinoa the Carpos next. He's a Carpos of quinoa, which we get some fun plant biology here. The reason why he is not buddy with the other carpoi is because quinoa is not a real grain. It's a pseudo grain. It's more closely related to spinach. I thought this was really funny. There's not really a lore explanation why he can't fit in with them. It is a taxonomical explanation why he is maybe at odds with the others. Work. You learn something every day.
And also, it is very slightly saying attention to taxonomy is not always that perfect. So
yes, very, very that. We're not biological determinists here. And let's just follow the character design tracker and personality tracker also. We're setting up our ragtag bunch of misfits found family situation. We have hot girl with flaming hair, donkey leg, metal leg. We have ripped guy with face torso, and now we have aggro child. We're keeping our span of the full diversity, and we're gonna take it further with our next entry, Orcus the Griffin, who is small, who is an adult, but is small.
And cute.
Very cute. We get that reminder a lot, but also you can't bring up his size because hat on a hat, he has gas problems if you mention his size around him.
Wake it up. This is 2 Riordanverse books in a row where we have a character with excessive flatulence. Let's keep that in the conversation. Never forget. We're all a little bit lactose intolerant.
Yeah, IBS girl representation, I guess. Something for the lovely 8-year-olds reading this who need a wide variety of things to latch into. Amazing. Let's have that as well. Yeah.
Did you all notice that Griffin is spelled Griffin in this book, but the mythical griffins of Trials of Apollo and whatnot are spelt in the series differently, Gryphon, I think.
Yes. I think both spellings have been used in different contexts. We also got a lot of griffins in the Son of Neptune, and I believe there we also use Phon. My rough memory, don't quote me on this, Phon is the Greek spelling, right? And Ffin is something else, maybe Germanic. I don't.
They also use Griffin in Kane Chronicles. This could be because they're at Camp Jupiter. We could ask Stephanie Laurie about this.
Is it Disney Hyperion style book has changed? I don't.
Also, yeah. I was saying Griffin, as it's spelled in this book, is cuter.
Yes, I would agree with that. It's cuter. It's closer to phonetic, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Although it did confuse me for a moment because for the first several chapters after this character was introduced, I was thinking of him as just being a little bird. And I not at all conceiving of the mythical creature. Which I also loved. I was like, oh, you guys just got a little bird in your gang? Absolutely.
I was just imagining Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. That was my mental image.
Also, each of these characters, in addition to being a mythic, hot girl donkey leg, they do all have something that is a little bit off about them, right? So the fact that she can't charm speak, and I like that the reason that he is so small, the thing that leads him to, that makes him different, particularly in his community, is that he refuses to reproduce.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Shout out to that. That's on being a book written by gay people.
And also like just chronically ill genetic disease representation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
It's very real.
Our final member of the crew is
Semele.
Semele
Is what the audiobook
there.
says.
Semele the Eidolon. Eidolons you might remember from Mark of Athena as beings who we do not see, but inhabit and basically mind control different people. That image from the first cover where we have Percy and Jason trying to kill each other in the Midwest somewhere in a random field, that is the Eidolons. That's the callback that we have going on here. Except Semele is not trying to possess people. She is just a mysterious feminine wisp of smoke that is everywhere but nowhere.
She's at the table as well.
We're looking for the cherry on top of our set of personalities and character designs. The serene, almost invisible, divine feminine energy. Couldn't have capped it off better.
Also, parentheses on the zombie thing. There is an iteration of zombie that it's more prevalent in Martinique and Guadeloupe. That is like an eidolon. So it's a spirit that will possess whoever wronged them in life, or if it's controlled by someone, can do like the bidding of that someone.
Come on, bring in the knowledge. At the bottom of page 63, to cap off our introduction section, Nico says, the mythic refugees were terrifying, strange, and rough around the edges. They definitely didn't seem to belong anywhere. In other words, they were Nico's people. Yes. Brilliant. I think that's going to have to be the second I read that, I was like, that's the title of this episode, because it's the episode where we learn who Nico's people are and also who they are not. And who they are not is Frank.
The Republicans. No.
Yeah. With that, I think it's maybe time to take an ad break, and we'll be right back to cover the rest.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent, savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast Gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful, and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast Gems.
All right. Chapter 6. It's time to actually see Frank in the flesh and confront him. Nico doesn't actually confront him. He's very polite, but that's my frame. That's our frame going into this.
I've started a separate tab in my book for times when Frank is being terrible, and the color is orange because I thought that felt like aggressive masculinity to me.
Yes. Yeah. Nico does read him a little bit in the internal monologue. He does say that Frank's back was damp with sweat and he smelled of turpentine. It's the little things, the little joys. He doesn't say that out loud. The library is closed for the public, but open for us. That's nice.
Should I give us some setup? Page 65, their relationship had started off rocky. Like many demigods, Frank had found Nico eerie and unnerving. Nico had been wary of the clumsy, bashful giant who had an obvious crush on his sister Hazel. But the time they'd spent together aboard the Argo II had done wonders to change both their minds. Once you earned his trust, Frank was one of the most loyal friends you could have. Once again, he's being so supportive. He's being such a supportive brother. This is really going out of his way to be so nice.
Yeah. But it's not right. Like, basically what we're seeing in this conversation is passive aggressive Frank trying to frame things, and Hazel being polite but consistently being like, oh, that's not a word that we're trying to use anymore. If you could reframe that would be nice. Or like there's a particular moment where Frank says tension, and Hazel goes, that's one word for it, because of course what they're referring to is the large graffiti and remarks from people, the Romans, one-sidedly about how the mythics don't deserve to be here. This is not, I mean, this is something that we've seen obviously in the world many times, that you can't call something what it is anymore because it's not making everyone feel respected or whatever. Like, tension is not an appropriate word here. She called him out.
It is so interesting to me how Frank continually uses his position as like person with power in this community who is representing the people and protecting the people as a way to say that he is uncomfortable about these other people being here. Like, he keeps using the fact that he has to take care of his people as the excuse for his like fear of the mythics and stress about having the mythics here, because he's like, I can't protect my people and take care of these other people at the same time. And Hazel is also like, oh, that's how I'm feeling as well, but it really feels like it's coming from Frank.
Familiar to me from many current events right now. Like protecting at the cost of who?
Yes.
Yeah.
And to make things worse, the puffs show up. And this is where it really, Frank is down at, oh gosh.
Don't mess with my puffs.
If I was here, I would projectile throw woke puff at Frank.
He says monsters. He says evil spirits. I just don't. He's not trying hard enough here. He is not he is not staking out a place that, like, he's staking out a place where, like, obviously if he were, what am I trying to say here? The position that he's taking here is somebody who we need to convince because we need to continue to move together as a society. He's not staking out the position of somebody with like a legitimate argument who we need to listen to and respect. I feel like at this point, like, we listen to him insofar as we need to figure out how to change his mind and stop being so disrespectful and whack. But not, like, it's so beyond.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And Asterion being, I like them.
Yes. Asterion,
that's uncle.
Picking up loneliness, experiencing the full Cocoa Puff experience.
Listening to the sad song while he's knitting and crying at home because he needs to feel the emotion. I love it.
Asterion is like a post-therapy individual to me. Like, Asterion has had all of that
He's
work.
done the work.
Yeah.
He's ready. Yeah. So basically, at this point, Asterion is proposing that the mythics and the soldiers, campers, I don't know what to call them, Romans, train side by side. Frank is straight up disrespectful. Like, it's giving somebody who has never had to sit in a meeting before, like, the amount to which he cannot politely say, I don't know if I want to do that, instead of sitting there in silence and making a judgy face. It is genuinely baffling to me that this person got a promotion before Hazel did. How did that happen? It's not giving leadership particularly. Nico and Will are coming in with a counter proposal, though, which is that they basically do the bridge thing. They are going to train with the Legionnaires, and then they are going to train with the Mythics, and we're going to have these people who have had all the experiences who can speak to everybody from that intimate perspective. And here, too, Frank is not particularly giving somebody who has experience in diplomacy and leadership the way that he immediately is like, no, you cannot do it. I don't believe you. You are too weak and soft and brittle little gay boys.
I want to see Frank survive Tartarus. Please.
Let's wake that up. And like, he is saying this like it's it's a mark of honor that he's like, I'm subjecting children to something that I think that is too intense for people who've survived Tartarus. Parentheses, that's a good thing. Like, that's not right.
No.
Many things to question, and that whole line of thinking.
Listen, I had this conversation with the patrons the other day, and I was talking with Robert because they're half from Chile, and we were talking about the history of military violence in Latin America, and I was
Mhm.
like, I am too much a Colombian to stand for this shit. I like you can Google 6402 Colombia and know why I'm saying this, but I don't trust the military. I see military people, I see cops, and I will change lanes. I would just go somewhere else. I don't trust these people.
Yeah. And Frank is being his military supremacism, it's not new, but it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And in as much of a death of the author way as we can, while having literally had the author of this book on this podcast before, I just want to be like, you know what? I think we're all on the same page about that in this book.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Very much so. We need a foil. That being said, I was preemptively exhausted at this point because I was like, I thought we were doing coffee chats. I thought that we were going to have philosophical conversations, but no, we have to do military training to get people to listen to us, I guess. Well,
there's a lot of stuff like that in this book where you're like, wow, it sucks that this is the way it is, but actually this is very accurate. Like, this is kind of how this would have to go down.
This is how persuasion in the United States of America probably happens.
Yeah.
Also, where are the adults? Because I know Karen is not a responsible adult. We know this. But Mr. D is offering therapy. And this whole book I was like, why are the teens in charge of everything here? Like,
it's one of the professors at New Rogue University who want to offer a perspective about something.
Please?
I feel like it's a chicken or the egg scenario where because they work their kids so hard, the adults in New Rome were like, I don't have anything to do with that. They're like, I'm retired now. Annabeth is like, leave me alone. Everyone's like, we don't deal with the Legion. We're out of there. We don't ask us about it. We're burnt out. We only hang out in New Rome now. And so they have no adults.
You're mentioning Annabeth. My headcanon, and I said this in the Patreon, is that Percy and Annabeth actually know what's going on because gossip in New Rome is a thing. But they're just like in their dorm, like hiding, begging for no one to ask their help. Like, please, 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 let them not come here.
Yeah. I think that they trust Nico too. I think that they know that if anyone can handle this, it's absolutely Nico.
Yeah. We not to put too fine a point on it. We've done a lot of beating up on this, but I think like the line that really encapsulates everything about this is from Frank. Quote, as demigods, we're protecting the world from nightmarish threats. But now those very threats are here, and they're eating all the best cookies.
Let us shout out how
literally
to
being a Republican
grade,
talking point.
This is literally how to put Republican talking points as the counter ideology in your middle grade book. They are eating all the cookies. That is genuinely what these people think.
Yeah.
And I hate Frank here. I hate the Republican ideology, but I love that this exists in this book. Because it shows us how we humans feel more comfortable when we can easily put things and people into boxes, and have a really hard time with nuance. Like, how am I supposed to know who's the bad guy and who's the good guy if we're not using these categories? And it's also giving the adults in my family pronouns and trans identities and not understanding how to like put that into their brain and the boxes they have. And it's also giving K-pop demon hunters like Rumi after talking to Gino, like, are you also hostage? Asking every single demon.
K-pop demon hunters, if K-pop demon hunters actually had a book like this where we understood how we were going to bring the mythics and the demons to live in harmony in our world. I also think Frank, like, what a great time to use Frank within the Riordanverse as a very accurate, like, young male in 2025 with the rise of this culture and certain podcasts and everything being so popular with young men. Like, wouldn't Frank be, you know, subsumed by that culture? He would be.
And let me say that now, as a Bay Area Asian American transplant, many such cases. That's all I'll say about that. The call is like, it's There's a real phenomenon that we're describing here.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, maybe it's time to move on to chapter 7, which is
let's wrap up here.
Training montage. Lavinia's back. Lavinia is back.
Oh,
She
welcome
is
back, Queen.
Weirder than ever. Shout out to that. Full character shoe with the cross strap.
Lots of
talking about
references
Gershwin
to
on many
lots of
different occasions.
references to I Got Rhythm. Let it be known, I did I Got Rhythm as my dance reel for college auditions. I had a tap routine to I Got Rhythm from my tap company in high school that I used as my dance audition submission for colleges. This is very real. Where's that line? Is it in the next chapter?
No one.
Who could ask for anything more about? Oh, yes, it's in chapter 8. But is it possible to love someone's vibe and still find them completely annoying? Snaps. And that is in my heart. That is what Rick Riordan was thinking when we met in person.
Oh my. Yes. Well, anyway, we're here. We're doing training montages. This is the first. Okay, I'm going to do a quick shout out to Nico, sort of reinventing a lot of modern academic humanities with this line. Nico's mind latched onto the word people. Had he ever referred to living beings who weren't human as people before? Lots of parallels, and specifically, I feel like I'm not the best person to speak on this here, but there's like a lot of literature, I think, out there about like animals as like humans but not people, or like people but not humans, and the same for like a lot of robots and stuff, right?
Becoming Human by Zakiya Jackson is great. I did animal studies, critical animal studies for my dissertation, and as the vegan in the chat, as the I don't eat animals person here, I love this. I was like, yeah, let's bring this to the table.
Yeah, it's a short chapter. Nico basically cheats on the writing by shadow traveling, which we love.
And Lavinia
Jogging is
loves
horrible.
it.
No one should do it.
This
you gotta
is
protect your
literally-
knee cartilage.
This is so Marco Shiro representing queer kids not wanting to run the mile in high school PE. That is this moment.
Also, I find this chapter to be like hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
But also, I was haunted by Lavinia always saying like a threat could come at any time, and I'm just thinking about the amount of like living in this state of alertness as a kid. That is the recipe for PTSD. Like, at some point, your brain needs to rest, and if you're being woken up by your elders saying like at any time you could be attacked,
your brain, your body, chronic hypertension.
If they also think at any time they could be attacked and they perceive everything as a threat, no wonder they are freaking out about the mythics being here.
No wonder they're
I imagine this
nativists.
Maybe Camp Half-Blood would have an easier time with this at this point than Camp Jupiter.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay,
why this
one
book had to
other
be.
flag on that play is also that like we know that Tyson and Ella have been living here this whole time, right? Like that's been several months now that happened in the Trials of Apollo. That was always like a little bit strange to me at the time that it happened, but especially now, I'm like, there's a little bit of like a okay, so we're cool with harpies, but we draw the line at like a small griffin and a Carpos.
I think that's to do with like because they fought alongside them and they have it's like the two like okay, you guys are fine type situation.
Which is of course reflective of how real life anti-immigrant sentiment works, is that you have to generally pick an exceptional class to highlight and say that we don't hate everybody. We have an ideologically robust position that is like taking into account the opinions of people who disagree with us.
Tyson and Ella are also, I don't know what you want, like choose what you want to call it. They're either developmentally different or they are basically children. And so I think that maybe the Camp Jupiter people would find them to be like non-threatening.
Yeah. It's different from Mysterium, certainly.
Yeah. And also it's like, in the line of what you were saying, Carter, it's the good savage myth. That was like so prevalent during colonization and still
Tyson is their Pocahontas.
Tyson is their Pocahontas. He's their model minority. Yeah. All of that.
He's their Opukahaia.
Oh, girl.
That's a deep cut for graduates from our high school.
Yeah. Wow. Is there anything else you want to call out in this chapter?
Oh, I did. Sorry. Because we were having the conversation last week about cute nicknames and whether or not those nicknames are actually cute and like how Nico and Will really would be found flirting and like justify like their couple cuteness. In this chapter, when Nico goes, "Will you join me in the darkness?" That to me, I was like, that right there. Pin that. That's the
cute.
vibe. Nico is a weird old man trapped in a 15-year-old's body. Like him being like, "Milady, would you like to join me in the darkness?" and like tipping his cap is 100% how I think he would flirt genuinely. And Will is like, "You're cute. Why are you like this? You're so weird."
Yeah.
Also, this is the chapter where Nico says he refrains from saying a couple of things to Lavinia about how he was alive at the time this song was made, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to be called Old Man D'Angelo. And so, yeah, Old Man D'Angelo.
He is Old Man D'Angelo, 100%. Okay, zooming through chapter 8, more Lavinia line dancing,
Square dancing as training. I cackled. I was afraid of the military stuff, and we threaded that needle.
Yes, brilliantly. Oh, this is also the chapter where she talks about her like weapon of choice, like really heavy, like double-armed crossbow, which she says, quote, "You can use a regular bow, but all the real girlies use one of these." And it was just such, to me, like representation of girl who like thrifted this. Like she went out to Hate Ashbury and she was like, "You could use that, or you could like go vintage, you know, like I thrifted this myself." Like it sounds so much better on vinyl, you know?
Yes.
She's a very real person to me.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We also talk about the poison ivy, right?
Yes. Lavinia's DTR. Congratulations to her.
And I have low-key questions about how it's dating a poison ivy supposed to work, but I hope the future will answer that for us.
Yeah.
Honestly, asexual representation, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, like very clearly, like a Batman reference because Poison Ivy is now canonically a lesbian.
Final lore implication.
World
building point of this section of chapters, that the Mythic Dojo Casa house has a 70s style conversation pit that doesn't have pink shag carpet, but actually has the skin of Tartarus. It doesn't currently work. I know, nasty, disgusting body horror, but
we love it.
But we love it. It doesn't currently work, but if they can figure out how to get it to work and to like be able to regenerate, like a portable regeneration pit for mythics, and that would have a huge implication for how mythics can survive outside of Tartarus and not having to go back to Tartarus if they don't want to.
We're trying to break the cycle.
Yeah,
it's giving also. I put this in our outline. It's giving Jardin Créole, or like the small piece of land that enslaved people were granted in plantations, and how a lot of African people, before they were taken, they were put seeds in their braids and in their head so they could plant it again. And on this, I highly recommend In the Shadow of Slavery by Judy Carney, about the immense influence that African agriculture had in our current, like the ecosystem we see right now in our continents. It's not the one the Europeans were faced with when they arrived to colonize this area. So
the refugee narrative as well, just like the idea of fleeing a place but still taking a part of it with you, and that it's more complicated than just leaving and never going back. All right. We also in this section get a brief conversation about how each of the members of our found family are going to contribute to society. You know, Johan wants to clean up their archives.
I am Johan.
Quinoa really wants to teach gardening to children.
Yeah.
In his Gregory Abbott Elementary era.
Ariel wants to do nothing. And that is why she's the queen.
Yes. Yes.
She said, "I do not dream of labor. I get to just sit here and do nothing."
Yes.
We'll be on a journey with her, but we love that she's a tough nut to crack, and she exemplifies this thing of like, I don't owe you anything. Like I should get to live here without doing more than these other people are doing.
Yeah.
And she's kind of finding her way. She's probably going to do combat training, but like
Yeah.
that initial impulse is so important and so powerful for us to honor and say, like, it's not like something for nothing. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah. And speaking of real hot girl shit, Ariel apologizes to Hazel at the end of this section.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's such a good apology. We should all like print it and put it in our mirrors every time we need to apologize. That is the model we should be following.
It's so true, because if you're a real mean hot girl, you have to learn how to apologize. And that's a part of it. That's a part of being a real hot girl.
That is a part of it, for sure.
All right. We have to wrap up because people have lives and jobs and classes to attend.
We do. Wait, we have to mention before we leave that we're here, that the voices are becoming more specific, and that we basically need to plant like a flag in the ground that like this is the section of chapters where we don't find out, but we basically figure out that it's Minos, right? Who's like the voice coming from the underworld.
I don't know, Carter. Is it? We'll find out.
We're talking about judgment. We're talking about Asterion. Anyway, like this is the one where he specifically says, like, we're trying to judge you. You've evaded us. King Minos, famously chief judge of the underworld, as you're coming in to get sorted. Anyway,
we'll see.
That's happening, but we're done.
We're done. Laura, tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
So you can find me. So if you're into art, I post my drawings on Lord Curry's roomie. So Curry is my cat. Curry like the spice.
We'll link it in our show notes.
Yeah, and you can find my fan art requested by Robert from the Dan Meme page, from like Circe and Penelope being lovers. I have that. I also have a little drawing of your 5-year anniversary. And if you're into vegan food, you can also find me and my partner at the Hungry Herbivores, also on Instagram.
Wahoo! Laura, I'm sure we will be seeing you back so we can ask you some more closing questions on another date. Also, everybody join the Patreon, patreon.com/seaweedbrain. That's our plug. We'll see y'all next week. We're doing 4 chapters at a time. And until then, remember who your friends are.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.
That was ominous. Oh my.